Okay guys, it's staircase day. Been putting this off forever, and it has taken me probably a good 6 hours just to get to this point. So lots and lots of measuring. Obviously, you've got to find these angles. I started off by putting my newel posts in, which are these, and they're really pretty sturdy. This one is rock solid. This one, because this wall is just kind of a pony wall, it's got a little bit of a, you can kind of hear it there, but it's not bad. Then I decided how I wanted my base boards, so I cut them. I found, again, using a protractor, I found what my angle is here to cut this. I also use that same angle to cut the stair railing, as well as the balusters, which sit down here. And then this is going to all be covered up. I think the only thing you'll see is probably like here once I get this finished. So I'm going to build a box that encloses all of this, and you'll just see the round part of the baluster coming out of it. And it's just because of the way our stairs are. We have a really, I don't know, I think it's unique. Because this comes down and then this kind of takes off here. And I just decided I wanted this baluster really to be hidden. So we'll fill that in, and I'll build a box that probably straightens out and comes down here and will be painted white, and it'll all look part of the, as part of the molding here that flares. So after I got my base plates on, then I did my measurements for the balusters. I found my center line off of the newel posts that I put in, and I drew the center line up there. Then I went to probably 3 or 4 different websites that would tell me the spacing that you need. And basically I just encourage you to find one that works for you. I went through 3 or 4 different calculators until I finally found a formula that I liked. And it wasn't a calculator. It was just some guy saying, take the length and divide it by this and add, this and subtract that. And there were about 6 or 8 steps to it, but it made sense to me. So I followed it. And it actually tells you the number of balusters that you need, the number of spaces that you'll have. And at the end, my really big thing was what this space is between each one of these. So for this one, I think it was 3.5, and I went out and just to the saw and cut 3.5 blocks. They won't fit in there because of the angles now, but when you're drawing, I just did my initial measurement 3.5 inch, and then took my T-square and started it. And then this was 1.25 inches, so I came up 1.25 inches, drew it, put an X there for my baluster to go in, then put my block down, which took me up to here, drew my line, went up another 1.25 inches, and just worked my way all the way up there until I had my marks. Once the marks are in place, then figuring out how to cut these balusters was a challenge. Originally, I had the balusters that were square at the bottom, and then they went to a spindle. And that was just going to be way too complex for in here, because I would have had to have drilled holes into the bottom. So I took those all back, and I got the ones that are square on the bottom and square on the top. Because this stair rail is so short, I think these balusters, I'll have to look back at my notes, but I think these are like 25.5 inches long end to end. But that's what worked for me. Matter of fact, you can see I actually cut off half of the rosette so that I could take advantage of as much wall height as I could get there. We had a double header up here, and there was no way I could cut into that to extend this up any farther when we were originally doing this. And we really do need a, stairwell banister down here. Otherwise, especially when you get little kids or older folks like myself who come down, you might trip and fall over this, to your demise. So anyway, I knew my angle. I cut my baluster at the bottom. I did my measurements. I cut it at the top. You put it in, use a torpedo level or whatever level you've got to make sure you're square up and down. In theory, the spaces that you have down here should be the same as the space that's up here. I have a few, quarter inch off this way, quarter inch off that way. Not too bad, but it was plumb with the level. There's actually little fillet pieces that go up in here, and you cut those individually. So I was able to cut those for the most part, except for I think it's like this. These three right here were not. They were a quarter inch off one way and then a quarter inch off the other. But the rest of them were all the 3.5, like I said. So now I've started on this bottom part, and the wife and kids just helped me get the stair rail in here. Again, I had to find my angle and cut my angle. You'll see I've got a little bit of touch up to do around here, but that's no big deal. And then I used these, I think I got an extra one here. I'll show you. I used screws from below to go in this way into it. And then I also used these. Basically, it's a lag bolt with a couple of plugs there that you can use. So you drill an inch hole in about that far, and then a 7/16 out to here, and then a quarter inch into here, and then your lag bolt goes in there and just clamps that all down. Put some yellow wood glue in there, pop it in there. I'll sand this off and then do a restain on it. I had already stained them previously, so no big deal there. So now I'm ready to, again, I went out and did the same formula. What I found out with this one, because of the measurements, was it came out to 2.275. So I went out and cut my guide blocks. These are the same ones that were 3.5 up there, but I cut them down to 3.275 inches on the table saw. Measured off from here, 3.275, cut that 1.25 inches, and then just started laying my blocks, and then that's 1.25 inches, and then another block, and 1.25 inches, and 1.25 inches. So I've got everything lined up now and ready. I've only got 2 more balusters. I've got to go back and get 7 more. So my next step will be to really measure this, and I think it's 28 3/4 from the bottom to the bottom of here, where it goes into, there's actually a channel in there where this goes into there. So what I'll do next is take those measurements and try to figure out so I get kind of an even square piece on each side, and we don't have a big hangover on one side and a little one on the other. I tried to do that on this one, but the channel up above really eats up about 1/4 inch, but it still looks good. That's my next thing, and that's really just a visual measurement, and you figure it out. Then, like I said, we've already found our angle because we used that angle here to cut that. So we'll use that same angle to cut the bottom of these. And I believe that angle that I came up with here is 39 degrees. So we'll cut that across at 39 degrees. and set it in there, and then we'll cut the top, draw a line, and then once you get one that fits, you can just use it as a pattern and lay it next to another one and cut all of them at the same time on your saw over there. And then you just come in here. I'm using a little of liquid nails. So I'll put liquid nails on the end of it, put it in there. I'll put liquid nails in the top of it, put it up there, plumb it up. Take my gun. I've got, I think it's 1¼ brads or something. Pop it in there so it goes into this wood real good. And that's a permanent hold. And then work my way down. Once I'm finished, then I'll come back up and level them if they're off a little bit, and shoot a brad through here on each one of the tops. And then, like I said, actually I might be able to get, you can see down here, see how this is empty, and this goes into those like that. And then the insets that I was talking about here are what really lock these down in place. Okay. So then the last thing I do is cut those insets, and they should be the same as this, only they'll have the angles, the 40 or the 39-degree angle cut on them. And then those will go right up between the balusters. And then you just have to custom cut. There'll be a short piece on each end. And that's that. So then the stairwell will be all complete. But all in all, I mean, this is the first one. Like I said, I've never done anything like this, especially with this kind of stairwell. But it looks pretty good, I think, coming up and coming down. So we'll do some more tomorrow when I finish this up. I reckon this will only take me a couple hours. And I got to go out and get some more balusters anyway. But that's it for tonight. This is Memorial Day weekend. So my big rush is really to get all the big stuff done. I did finish my crown molding on the cabinet finally. Not my finest work ever, but it does look good, and no huge issues. I am going to, I got some quarter round that I'm going to stain this cabinet color, because I didn't like, they had a step trim in here, and I didn't like the way that looked, so I'm going to stain it. And we thought about doing white, but we thought that looked too weird. But yeah, I did the trim here. Oh, I re-leveled the fridge. I put the toe kick in down underneath here. So all the cabinetry has really been finished up there. I think all those lights, you can see that. But we're just about finished with all the major projects, and then really I got the, oh, that's the other thing. I put the doorknobs on. So doorknobs are all working and locking and latching on everything. I framed out the windows the other day, and they've been painted. So really the only thing left to do, of course there's Peyton, go Colts, is these little paint touch-ups, and to go around. My daughter's been going around and filling the nail holes and sanding. So we'll do a walkthrough and do some paint touch-ups, you know, on the door. You know, just doing work in here. We've got, say hi to the tongue gal. Aww. We've got little touch-ups where we've scraped the wall, you know, when we've been working down here. So yeah, just little paint touch-ups, but all the heavy lifting will be done hopefully tomorrow. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'll give you a short update tomorrow when we're done.